This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by promoter Frank Warren here in Saudi Arabia. Frank, how you doing? How's the journey over?
I'm good, and I had a good journey over here. Yeah, all good. Recovering from the flu, or trying to recover from it, but yeah, getting there slowly but surely.
I was going to say, he must have been disappointed to obviously missed Nick's homecoming, and I've said it to George. Of anybody in boxing, the run he's been on away from home, if somebody deserved that type of homecoming, it certainly seems to be Nick Paul.
He did, and he took it with both hands and showed what he was all about. Against a guy who come to fight, showed a lot of courage, you know, a lot of ring smarts and whatever, and he came there to try himself. But you know, Nick came through it and done what he had to do, and he's had 3 tough fights in 7 months, quality opposition in 7 months. I mean, you know, it's only him and Daniel Dubois, I think, have fought at that level when you look at them, the amount of fights I'm talking about in that period of time, and it was a tremendous performance.
He obviously wants those unifications, but one which keeps on coming up is the rematch with Ray Vargas.
I'd love that, and let's see what we can do.
Obviously away from Nick, we're back here, back in Saudi Arabia. Beterbiev-Bivol headlines. I know Eddie's obviously cheering for Bivol. What do you expect to see happen on Saturday night, Frank?
Great fight. 2 quality operators in a fight that's, you know, the 4 belts are there, but I mean, these guys are the top of their form. Perfect record with Beterbiev, 20 fights, 20 knockouts. Bivol, tremendous boxer, undefeated. Both of them have got British scalps on their belts, so we know they are. And I just think it's going to be something extra special, this fight. I really do think it's going to be a classic fight.
Arthur's obviously not been one to be too talkative this week, Frank. I'm sure he's in Eddie's comments that he feels that maybe a little bit at times it can be disrespectful. What do you make of that?
I think that all fighters are different. You've got guys who, you know, some guys love the mic, like Tyson was, you know, on fight weeks, different guy, and Naz was a different guy. George Foreman, you couldn't get him to say 2 words in the first stage of his career. They're all different. You know, Daniel Dubois, after he won the world title, didn't want to go and do the press conference afterwards. Everybody's different. As promoters, what you want from the fighters, especially on the week of the fight, is that they deal with the media. They do it because that's what, you know, we've got to sell tickets, we've got to sell pay-per-view. That's what pays for the purses.
Frank, you go up against your old enemy, Mr. Eddie Hearn, once again on Saturday in terms of Sky Nicolson versus Raven Chapman. Now, Sky goes into it as a favourite. She has a very awkward and a very difficult style to come up against. What does Raven have to do to differ from the past opponents of Sky Nicolson's and to have her hand raised?
Do what she does. She's got tremendous work rate. She's fast. She's got a good engine. She just needs to do that. She needs to put her under pressure.
You also know this is the first fight on a Riyadh season card as well. Excitement, pressure, how much of an opportunity could this be for her to really kind of steal the show?
It's historical. It's the first women's world title fight to take place in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh. It's an historical moment, you know, shows what's happened in a year and how things are moving forward, and it's brilliant. These girls don't need no motivation. They're motivated, the pair of them. You know, they see the stage they're on, they see what the opportunity is for them and what they can do for the winner moving forward. And who knows the loser? Depends how the fight is. Maybe a great fight and a great rematch. Who knows? But I'll tell you what, it will be competitive. This is a very competitive fight card.
Obviously, back up at heavyweight division, certainly the UK scene you've been dominating recently, Frank. Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clarke too. Fabio's adamant he can get that stoppage this time around. Do you echo those calls? Do you expect to see Fabio come out with a knockout victory?
I thought he won the last fight in a very, very good. It was a cracking fight. I'm not having a go at Fraser. I thought it was an excellent fight. I expect the fight to move in the same vein as the previous one. They both have learnt a bit about each other, and they both have seen what they could have capitalised on. More so, I think, with Fabio from the previous fight and what he's got to do to win this one. And he's very, very confident, and I expect him to come through it.
Frank, obviously Chris Eubank Jr on this card. We haven't had a chance to speak since the outburst at the previous press conference back in London. Can you just kind of sum up, reflect on that entire situation and what conversation you had?
You know, he knows what the position is, and he knows where we go. I can't comment any further at the moment, other than the fact that he knows what's going on there.
So there's still stuff going on around it in the background?
it'll be public knowledge soon. So yeah.
Obviously away from Junior, the Usyk Fury 2 card was announced earlier as well, Frank. Dennis McCann, Peter McGrail, talk to me about that fight.
Great fight, absolutely great fight. It was both the Border Control and the EBU called for the mandatories of the respective belts, and it's on. Dennis is now based up in Liverpool. It's like the Battle of Liverpool as well. Who's going to be the boss of Liverpool? It's a cracking fight, and it's Eddie against us again.
It's going to be. When do we start to see this maybe 5 versus 5 or these shows taking place back in the UK, Frank? Because that's what everybody is asking for.
I think we'll be doing that. I'm quite convinced we'll do that next year.
One you do have in the UK is your headliner in Birmingham, Shabazz Massoud versus Liam Davies.
Yeah, on the 7th we've been doing that 7v7 format, which I've been doing for years and years. It's a cracking format again. It's Queensbury v Matchroom, and it's a cracking fight. That's a great fight. Massoud had a really good win last time out. It's quite a spectacular win. So that's going to be a good fight.
Moses Atama, Dempsey McKean, talking about the matchmaking for that one, Frank. Why do you feel this was the right type of gauge, if you will, for Moses' career?
I hope it is. I hope we got it right. Dempsey's he's a competitor. He's got one loss on his record, which he went 12 rounds with Hrgovic. And, was that an eliminator, wasn't it? I think at the time, whatever it was.
It was, yeah.
So, this is a big step up for Moses. Hrgovic showed, certainly in the early rounds against Daniel, how dangerous he is. So he's a good competitor. He's a tough guy. Dempsey, to be able to do the 12 rounds with him, shows what a tough guy he is. This is going to be a big step up for young Moses, who's still a teenager.
How difficult are you finding it matching Moses at this moment in time?
We're trying to find the right fights. The fights that he can. I feel that, and he feels, and his management and trainers feel that he can obviously want to win, but he can learn from. And this is a tough fight for him.
Frank, we've seen Hamzah Sheeraz has been ordered to face Zhanibek. Will the deal be agreed? Will it go to purse bids? Is it the fight you guys won? But where do we see it?
Well, I haven't spoken with them yet, so it only came out, was it late yesterday? I haven't spoken to anybody yet. Once we do, we'll make some decisions.
But do you personally want to see?
I think he's capable of beating any of them. I really do. But but until I speak with him, we'll see.
Obviously, Zhanibek fought last week. Did you catch his fight? Did you make anything of his performance?
I did. Yeah, I see it. And listen, he is what he is, isn't he? He's a good fighter. But so's Hamzah.
Holes to pick though from his performance.
Sorry?
Holes you found in his performance.
There's a couple of things there, that I've looked at and whatever. There's a few things I looked at, but every fighter at the end of the day has to step up. It comes a moment in your career where you step up and see what you're all about. Nick Ball's done it recently. Daniel Dubois has done it. They're the first two that come to mind, and I'm quite sure. When it comes down to it that Hamzah will do what's necessary.
Just one more with Hamzah, the Denzel Bentley fight. I've seen a few rumours that might be back into the equation. Is that another one which is being considered?
Denzel's number 2 in the WBO. There's lots of options, but the most important thing is that we sit down and talk and work it out, and we'll do that.
I have to ask you, Frank. Obviously, Anthony Yarde was announced as boxing next weekend on the Adam Azim O'Hara Davis card. What can you tell me promotionally, contractually, where things sit? Should we expect to see him in the ring next week?
Should he be in the ring? Well, provided we had a right to match, providing that's what it is, then he will be in there. If it changes, then we'll see.
How aware of you was Anthony's conversations with Boxer or with Ben Shalom, or is this just a one-off?
Very, very, very aware of it. Very aware of it.
Is this just a one-off then for Anthony?
I don't know where we're going with it. At this moment in time, I've got to be very honest. Like I've said for a while, long as the contractual position is dealt with correctly, and at the moment it has been, we'll see where it goes from there. I haven't got a problem. And as far as the future, I mean, I've got to be honest, it's not something that's on top of my list.
So, not on the top of your list, but potentially at some point we could see you guys working together again.
I don't know what's going to happen. You know, all I know is that there's a massive fight on Saturday with the two best in the world, and you know that's where we are, and see where they go and how the dust settles after that with that division. It's a very, very interesting division, and as you know, we're very, very competitive what we do.
Frank, Dubois-Joshua 2. Do we see that next? Is that most likely?
I don't know yet. Again, AJ's got to make a decision if he wants to do the rematch, and then we got to negotiate purses and so forth. So we'll see.
Speaking to Eddie, he said that talks have taken place, preliminary talks, nothing too extravagant. He seems to be believing Anthony's going to want this above all else. Do you expect it?
Provided, you know, Daniel's side of it satisfied, it ain't going to be a problem, that's for sure.
And then final one from me, the IBF ordering Martin Bakole versus Ajit Kabayel for that belt as well.
For the...
ordering final eliminator for the IBF belt.
Yeah, they've ordered that, yeah.
Just your thoughts on that fight, provided you guys...
It's a good fight, be interesting to see. I'm a big fan of Kabayel, big fan of his.
Right, Frank, listen, I appreciate your time. I know you got to shoot off now to the workouts, as we all do. So thank you, and I'll see you soon.
Not at all. Good to see you, Andy.